Today we play golf.
Let me show you how we do it in the pros.
Welcome to Behind the Golf Brand Podcast.
I never miss with the 7-iron.
A conversation with some of the most interesting innovators and entrepreneurs behind the biggest names in golf.
My friends were the golf clubs. I lived on the golf course. I lived on the driving range.
From pro talk.
You should learn something from each and every single round you play in.
To fun from on and off the green.
Why would you play golf if you don't play it for money?
Just let me put the ball in the hole.
This is Behind the Golf Brand Podcast with Paul Liberatore. Behind the Golf Brand Podcast is sponsored by On Point, the revolutionary three-dimensional domed golf ball marker. On Point provides alignment recognition as small as a degree of inaccuracy from the planned course of the putt face angle. Endorsed by Jim Furyk, U.S. Open champion and 17-time PGA Tour winner. On Point alignment technology has been proven to increase putting performance and help lower your score. Visit onpointgolf.us and be sure to use code GA10 for a 10% discount. On Point, make more putts.
What's up, guys? Paul from Golfers Authority. Welcome to Behind the Golf Brand Podcast. This week, episode 39. I can't believe we're already at 39 in less than a year. We should take a little break. Just kidding. But this week, I do have friends of mine that I've known for a while. I actually met them about almost 2 years ago. I would say about the fall of 19. I don't know, 20 is a blur. But the boys behind Desert Fox. If you guys don't know what Desert Fox is, it's like the best, I don't know what you want to call it, like accessory you could possibly buy. And we'll talk more about what on the show today, but it's so freaking cool. And like, there's nothing else like it. So I'm really excited to have them on the show and welcome my friend Eric and Scott from Desert Fox Golf. Welcome to the show.
Thanks, Paul. Hey, Paul.
What is the Desert Fox? Explain to people what the Fox is.
So the Desert Fox Golf Phone Caddy is the best phone holder for golf. We might be a little bit biased.
No, it is. But
basically, I got hooked into using a golf app actually called the Grint. Shout out to the Grint guys. About 3.5 years ago now. And I realized when I was on the golf course that I loved the app, but I didn't have a place to put my phone. So came home one day and started tinkering around with the computer and designing a little product that would work. And fast forward about a year later, we decided to launch the Phone Caddy as a phone holder that straps right to your golf cart, keeps your phone right at your fingertips. And we get more out of our golf apps because now we have our phone right in front of us.
So before I go into the whole story of you designing that bad boy, I want to know, what is your first golf memory, Eric? Go.
Probably me slamming my golf club on the ground when I was probably 12 or 13 because I just shanked one with my father. So my early golf memories are not necessarily the best ones.
How about you, Scotty?
Pretty frustrating.
Yeah, well, for me, I mean, I grew up just off of a golf course back in just outside of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. So for me, it was hunting golf balls in the woods, popping out and selling them for 10 cents a pop. And, making enough money to go get like an ice cream sandwich or something.
That's hilarious.
That was my first golf memory, right? And then you get into the game, right? That's a whole nother story. But yeah, I used to shag balls back in the day, walk in the woods, picking up golf balls and selling top flights probably. Paying
Molitors,
right?
Slashingers, whatever they used to call those balls. I can't remember.
No, we're going to age ourselves here.
Dude, I'm a 80s, 90s boy. It's like you guys.
Same.
That's the best time to grow up. Seriously.
Absolutely.
I think it is. I don't know. So obviously, like, you guys are just like the rest of us, right? You're just two guys who like to play golf and are smart and invented something cool, right? You guys are not pros. Did you guys play in college, or did you guys like play at a mini tour or any of that stuff?
No, definitely not. So for me, high school golf was about as competitive as I got. When I went to college at Penn State, talked to the golf coach, was trying to go down that path. And I think I was like a 4 handicap coming out of high school. Yeah, Penn State doesn't recruit 4 handicaps. So they wouldn't even let me like carry a golf bag or like clean the golf clubs. But no, the coach was awesome. I mean, he's like, hey, go play some summer golf, start posting some scores and, let's talk when you're a sophomore. And of course, when you're 18 years old and you get told that, you don't do anything.
You're done. You're like, I'm done.
And that was the end of my golf career. So at that
I was playing for fun.
I was committed to amateur golf at that point.
Yeah, and I was a 30 or 40 handicapper until I was in my late 20s. So I was a terrible golfer for a long time. In fact, until I met Scott, and then he started working on my game and got me down into the mid-teens. But I'm even today, I'm not a great golfer. Scott's a really good golfer. I'm just a lower than average golfer.
I think so. Like that's what I am. I'm like a 15 on a good day, maybe on a good day.
15
like,
or 15.
And then if it's a bad day, I don't even know. Right? Like I don't even want to talk about it. Like, I never portray myself as good. Right? I used to be good, I guess. Like when I used to be a pilot, like we would fly out here in Arizona. We'd fly in the morning because it was cool, right? And the day was hot as hell. So then we would go play golf. And I play like every day. I got down to like a 4 or 5 probably. I was playing every day. And then, you quit playing. And then it's like, whoop, back up. You forget how to play.
Yeah.
So
the equipment.
I know you went to Penn State. What year did you graduate from Penn State? 90 what?
96.
Oh, that's cool. I went to Purdue, but I graduated in 2000. So Big Ten represent.
I went to Michigan, graduated.
You went to Michigan?
Yep.
Wait. Okay. What year did you graduate? Same time?
I graduated in December 99.
Dude, like you got a freaking same age, bro. Because I graduated like May of 2000.
Yep.
I was there when Drew Brees was there.
I was at Michigan with Brady. So we were both there in the
heyday.
The heyday of the quarterback.
I had Drew Brees in my psychology class before when he was a redshirt freshman. And I was like, who's this dude? And I knew he was on the football team. He was nice. But then I was like, now looking back, I'm like, I should have been really good friends with that guy.
Yeah. Unfortunately, there wasn't too many football players in my engineering courses at Michigan, so I didn't get to run across anybody really fun.
My next door neighbors in my apartment were all on the football team. So like I knew a bunch of guys, but like I was in aviation, dude. There was like no football players. They're all in like management. Like what the hell's management? What school would be in management? Like that's a course.
Yeah, Michigan, they're all in kinesiology, right? They're all
kinesiology.
All out, man. Sports kinesiology.
We're like talking so much crap. We're like, what are those classes? Come on. It can't be that hard. How's that management degree over at Chick-fil-A working out? Actually, I work at Chick-fil-A, probably make a lot of money. So that's crazy. You guys see Big Ten. You guys got all the little kids out there. You need to go to the Big Ten. And one day you'll grow up and own a company. Just don't take kinesiology.
That's right.
So, Eric, what's your background? Are you like an engineer? Like
I'm an electrical engineer. I was in the semiconductor industry for 15 years. Worked for Intel, Microchip, some big semiconductor companies. Left that space in about 6 years ago now to go out and kind of try to start my own businesses. Flipped some houses. Started a little computer business I ran for a year or so, and then stumbled on this idea and decided to shut all that stuff down and focus on.
So you're a serial entrepreneur.
A little bit. I mean, for the first 15 years of my career, I was just corporate
cubicle
managed a bunch of engineers and my wife is also in the semiconductor industry, and so at some point we're like, we're so overworked and, stressed out that we wanted to kick our dog every day, and we don't even own a dog. And so we're like, somebody needs to make a change. And so I took out.
That's cool. It's cool that she supported that, Yeah.
Is
that where you guys met?
Actually we both met at a semiconductor company down in Texas, Austin, Texas, actually. So that field was great for us. We made a good living. But, now where I'm at now, I have, a little bit more flexibility and the money's starting to come back. And so, it's a good,
you're like, oh, finally. Like I made.
Yeah, it was, especially at the beginning of this business, you work for
spend. Yeah. That's all you do.
Scott works a lot, right? But he's got his paycheck. So, he has that advantage, disadvantage of having to work, 2 gigs. But, for me, without my wife and her support of paying the bills while we got this off the ground.
It kind of gives you guys a competitive advantage, I think, because you have 2, right? It's like you have 2 very smart people that are friends doing it. And, you're able to spend more time on it because you're not stuck at a full-time gig, right? Like, I wish I had that sometimes. That's awesome. Because I feel if it gives you like the extra oomph, You know what I mean? To get things done faster. Because who was I talking to about this yesterday? I was talking to somebody and they're like, with all the stuff I have going on, like I'm the tip of the spear, right? But like if I'm not able to get something done, then nothing else gets done. Like I can't delegate. So it's almost like if I had a second person, then I could be like, oh yeah, cool, take care of that. And they just take care of it. Then I don't have to worry about it. But
yep, it's nice.
It's cool. Now Scott, I know Scott has a full-time gig. I know where he works. I'm not gonna say where. I mean, it doesn't really matter. It's not people will look for him. So
Google my name and you'll figure it out.
But he works for a really cool company. Actually, you know how this is a small world. So Scott and I you reached out to me, right? I can't remember how this happened, but like we ended up knowing each other through another guy, like the guy through what's his face from Little League, and that's how I met you because you guys both worked at Intel. Whoopsies. Yep. Just kidding. Doesn't matter. Let's look them up on LinkedIn. So it was just such a small world. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. So Scott, then you have a full-time job, right? And then you're spending your extra time, like me, helping grow this brand, right? So how'd you guys like initially come up with the idea? Like, I know you had the idea, but how'd you guys come together and be like, hey, we should really make this into a company?
Well, I'll let Eric talk about it. But what's fun about it, because it's behind the brand, that right there was a picture that I got with a cell phone sticking in it. And I was like, what the heck are you doing? That's awesome. I want one, man. That's fantastic.
So I literally came up with the first design. I did a 3D prototype and I stuck it on the golf cart and I sent him a picture and said, hey, check this out. And that was his first response. He's like, I want one. So I went back and printed him a 3D printed version that would work for his phone. His phone was a little bit different size than mine. So I printed one that would work for him. I gave it to him and we just started using it. And then we didn't start this with the idea that we could turn this into a
business,
a business or even a
real business. Like, we could sell some probably on the internet, but
yes, we kind of used it for a while and we kind of mulled it back and forth a little bit. And then I think it was almost about 6 months later, we're like, okay, enough people have seen this thing on the golf course and there's been enough interest that, maybe we should look at, can we turn this into something sellable? And then it goes from, it's really easy to design one that fits for a
functional product into a,
so
whatever, a real product.
Yeah. It took about 200 prototypes to get something that would work for the problem is it's not even all the different phones out there. It's all the different cases. So we had to design work for hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of different case sizes. And so that was the real...
It wasn't so much going this way. It was going this way, right?
It's both. Yeah.
It's like...
Got to be able to handle the different widths and the different depths of all the cases. And so, that was the challenge of designing something that was robust enough that we believe could cover the vast majority of the market. We didn't want to just put out a point solution and say, hey, this only works if you have an iPhone 6.
Yeah, no one's like, this is stupid.
And no case, right? And so that was the challenge, is coming up with something that just worked for the majority of phones out there.
I mean, so a lot of people put pop sockets on their phones now, which, obviously you can't I don't think you put a pop socket on and put the case on because it's sticking up like that far now, right?
Yep.
Even if it's like completely compressed. Like, I mean, if you're going to use the Desert Fox, you got to take if you have that kind of case, right? Or it's like a rubber case around the side, not like it just depends. I guess that'd be the next cool like invention you guys could come with. It's like how to use it with a pop socket, since a lot of people have pop sockets now. It feels like
pop sockets, and so the two things they're in the category that don't quite work with our Phone Caddy is pop sockets are those little ring loops that people put on the back of their cases, and then the folio cases are like the full wallet case. Yep. So we're always we have more products in the development pipeline, so we'll always try to address shortcomings of the product and create new versions of it. But the good thing is that I believe we cover about 98 to 99% of the market out there. So
I mean, it's a small percentage of people have pop sockets.
Yeah,
I'm just wondering about that.
It may be. Yeah, it may be. We can come up with something in the future that will accommodate them. If we get enough feedback that that's something that we think the market's big enough, we'll certainly address it.
So you guys came out. When did V1 come out to the public?
Like
when you're selling it on the site, like
Yeah. No, that would have been in the fall of 2018. So our very first, run at this, we ended up doing the PGA demo. I think what was it called? Demo and something experience up in Las Vegas because it was close to get to. And we actually drove
July of 18.
No. That was actually August of 2018. They do that as a fall show up there.
It's a mini version, right, of the PGA.
Yeah, it's the mini version of the PGA show in Orlando.
Yep. No, and it's primarily fashion, and they have a very small equipment section. So Eric and I went up there, and we went up there with actually 3D printed prototypes. So we had our production units, kick-started, but we rolled up there with 3D printed prototypes, and we're like, all right, let's go see if we can find somebody that we don't know that's not going to tell us that this is terrible, and see what happens. And right,
that's awesome.
You got to test that stuff, right? And so we did pretty well. We actually sold to probably about 2 or 3 pro shops, just having 3D printed prototypes.
They're impressed by it. Yeah, they're like, "Oh, this is cool."
Yeah, and I mean, never even saw the actual product they were going to get, right? So that was really encouraging. And then ultimately launched the website, and went live. I think it was probably, call it September, 2018, where we finally started, taking orders. Although that very first one was pretty hysterical because Eric and I were, it's launched, of course, and you're just sitting there waiting. You're like, somebody buy it, right? That I remember that all
days and days and days. You're like, oh my God, somebody buy it, please.
Well, as an engineer too, right? We're like, we don't even know if the site works, right? I mean, we can go on there and buy it, right? But until somebody else that you don't know buys the thing, it's it's kind of crazy. So
it makes you sad. You're like, nobody. It's like, oh, nobody likes me. Like you're like, I have this really cool product and no one's buying it. It's like that's the hardest part. Don't you feel like that's the hardest part with what you got with all business, right? It's not so much like figuring it out and building it. It's like that bridge from people actually buying it, right? It's a weird area. I wouldn't know what you even call it. I feel like it's a line in the sand, right? Yeah. And it's like finding whatever that magic sauce is to break that barrier and have actually people know what it is, and then it's down the road, no problem. But I feel like you go to the PGA show and you see that a lot, right? A lot of guys come there, they spend $10,000, get a booth, and they're hoping that when they leave the PGA show, they're now a real brand. And then they go home and they realize that
it doesn't work that way.
These people
sometimes people blow up instantaneously, but we certainly weren't in that category. But we also had very realistic expectations of how long it was going to take us to grow. We didn't build this from the beginning assuming that we were going to be an overnight success. So we actually built a 2.5 and a 3-year model that that we needed to kind of our sales needed to track, and we ended up blowing the model out of the water. We did much better than we predicted, but so having that model in place over 3 years and knowing that it was going to be a slow growth, I think helped us make the right decisions at the right times.
You guys are really smart. I think you're the first people to actually say that to me. Yeah, I think it's really smart. It's so smart, honestly.
A lot of companies just throw in like $100,000 of advertising on the first go, and they expect to blow up immediately. And we were very judicious about slow growth, and it actually helped us too because we had to figure out our procedures. We had to make sure that the product was good, and so not being an overnight selling 100,000 units on the first month would have been bad for us because
you wouldn't be able to do it.
We wouldn't be able to do it, and then we would have hurt our brand reputation. So. It's, I think we did it the right way. We grew slow enough that we could keep up with ourselves, but yet fast enough where we knew it was going to be a viable business. With
what I love about you guys? I don't know. Like, first of all, I'm already friends with Scott, but you guys are very realistic, and I think a lot of people, everybody is not realistic. And like you just said, they come out of the gate thinking that it's like a weight loss, right? You're like, oh, I'm going to lose weight. And then after 2 days, you're like, F it, because I'm not losing any weight. Because it's the same scenario when you're trying to build a brand. It's like, oh, F it. Like, this is not working. Because we're so used to instantaneous gratification that if we don't have it, then you're thinking, you second guess yourself. Is this really a good product? Do people really care about it? Did what I do wrong? And it's nothing. It's just that it takes time. That's it. But a lot of people don't want to admit that.
Yeah, it definitely takes a lot of time. We were fortunate too to meet a lot of people along the way. Eric has, looked at businesses, for years and years and years. We have friends that own businesses. So it kind of helps set that expectation when you have people that are telling you, hey, by the way, I started my business 5 years ago. I started my business 6 years ago. That type of stuff. So it certainly helps just having, people that have done this, and it does help set those expectations. But, I couldn't agree more with what Eric mentioned, setting those models up and setting the proper expectation out of the gate. Certainly.
Do you guys use a software for that, or what do you guys do? You just kind of roll it out?
Excel spreadsheets. We run our entire business off of probably 25 Excel spreadsheets.
I need you to send me one of those spreadsheets, not with your information on it, but I need to figure out my 3-year plan here. What's a 3-year plan? That's
the problem with having 2 engineers run a business is in terms of the analytics, we're probably a little heavy on the number of spreadsheets you create to analyze everything. So my solution to pretty much anything is a spreadsheet. So
brilliant.
Yeah,
I love spreadsheets. The data tells you I always tell people, data tells you what you need to know. Data tells as a lawyer, same thing. Data tells you what you need to know.
It helps a lot. There's some guessing and some intuition and some close your eyes and just hope like hell that you're right. But having a lot of data in front of you, certainly, I think
when I started Golfers Authority, the same freaking thing. It was all data driven. Right? I was trying to figure out what people want to read about,
Yep.
And it took, like you said, a 3-year plan. I didn't have a 3-year plan. I was I'm in it for the long haul, so whatever. And so that was my 3-year plan. But then the data helped tell me what to do. Even though it took a long time to do it. I mean, I don't know. I'm a nerd.
We had some nice successes too, right? You had the same type of thing where you do a couple things right and you take that little pop, you get a nice little move and you're like, okay, do more of that, right?
Year 1, I went from 0, I guess those are January 1st of 18. And by September, I was getting 75,000 people a month on my site. No ads. That's 100% organic. And that's it. I mean, it's 95% organic. It was 95% organic and 2%, Pinterest and social and whatever. But I mean, it just it's compounding. It's like interest, right? Compounds. Do, and the same thing with you guys, right? You kind of test things and you go, oh, that worked or that didn't work or whatever it is. So then you went to PGA show, I know last year, because I saw Scott there and I hung out with him. Was that your first PGA show? Or was that big PGA show, or did you go the year before?
No, that was our second one, actually. So the first one we went to was 1999, but that was, I think, a week and a half before the show. We got an opportunity to get a spot behind Callaway that they couldn't fill. And so we both looked at each other and said, what the heck, let's give it a shot. But it was throw up a table and one of those
banner
rows. And,
we had a banner, a table, and a TV.
Yeah, exactly. It was. We have pictures of it. It's pretty amazing.
It was rough.
Back at it, right?
We looked like we were just off of the turnip truck. We looked like we just threw it together the week before, which we did.
Which we did, yeah. And then 2020, I would say that's when we truly, made.
You had a big booth. You're on the end, weren't you? Or no, you were on the end. You're second to the end.
We were second to the end. We were right behind Club Car. Didn't know we were going to be behind a huge wall. We were super excited to be behind Club Car until we realized we were literally behind Club Car.
The great wall of Club Car. We felt like we were the Mongols trying to get into China.
It was pretty amusing. So but no, we did the whole thing, man. Committed, had a booth. We had launched a bunch of new stuff.
Dude, that shit got expensive as hell. I don't even want to ask you. I bet you that was over $10,000 easily. I already know it. Yeah, it was. I know it was. It had to be. It had a big ass booth.
You know PGA show pricing, so it is what it is.
Yeah, he's got to deal with that.
Yeah,
you guys do have virtual bullshit this year. No, that was dumb. I was like, what a money grab! Who the hell is gonna do that?
Honestly, I think they could have. I think they had the opportunity to do it in a way that would have made sense if they kind of, for us as a small brand, we needed a way that people were going to stumble onto us, right? Because nobody was going to go to that site and search for us, right? They had to find some way that's equivalent to you walking around the show, which is how small companies like us get found.
Yeah, it's the only way when you're at a big ass show.
Yeah. So I think they had the opportunity to do something that they could have done in a more virtual way, that would replicate you walking around in a way to find brands. But the way that they did it, just I think, and look, it's
fine. I'll talk shit. I don't care. What are they gonna?
I mean, so
show, whatever.
They, like everybody else, had to adjust, and it just for the money that they wanted out of it.
Yeah, it wasn't like the money went down in price. It was like, oh, okay, you want to have a link, it would be $5,000. And I don't know if that's true or not, but still,
it wasn't that bad. But
no, but it was still like pretty. And like when I first found out about that, I was like, no one's gonna go to that. Like, who's gonna do that?
Yeah.
A couple brands did, but they were the ones that had like ginormous budgets and they had to do it.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
and honestly, the silver lining to me is I wasn't sure in the previous year if the money we spent at the PGA show was really worth it or not. And so honestly, this year kind of made that decision for us. You know, I almost feel like at a small brand, you're almost obligated to go to the PGA show. I mean, everybody
do it once. It's a right of badge of honor. It's like, all right, I did it. I learned it. What I learned from it. You know, my dad did it. My dad has the AccuHit, right? The golf trading AccuHit. He went to PGA show in 1999, 2000. And he thought the same damn thing, right? Like, oh, I want to go to PGA show. And like, you know, I think he shared a booth with like golftrainingaids.com or something because he knew Dane Wyron or somebody. I don't know. So like, you guys hang out in the booth and like he was, you know, showing his AccuHit and like he was there for the week. Guess how many freaking sales we got from that? Goose egg. You know, like, and it's early internet too. So, I mean, but even still, it's like, you got to go to the PGA show, which I think is sad. I think people don't understand that until you actually go or you talk to somebody who's been there. They're like, you got to really understand your expectation level and be like, hey, this is not your magic wand, right? You're not all of a sudden be successful because you went there. You might be, I mean, it's like, but it's a very small chance. And I think I wish people knew that. You know, just because
there's a longevity piece of it too, right? You show up, right? Then people come back and say, well, are they still there in year 2? Oh, okay. Maybe this place is legit, right? You show up in year 3, there's that longevity piece of it that kind of plays a pretty important role as well, right? I mean, if you've been in the golf industry, it's a, you know, this is a word of mouth industry, right? I mean, it's
100%.
Right. So like,
I didn't know that when I started. Yeah. I was just like you guys. I was like, whatever.
Yeah. And you learn that, right? And so hey, did you see the Desert Fox golf guys? Hey, yeah. Did you see the Desert Fox golf guys? Right. Enough of that happens, you know, you start to build that, right? And it's just like what we do with golf equipment and everything else. Hey, what golf ball did you play today? Oh, I never tried that, you know, and that's how you end up doing things just as a golfer, right? It's a word of mouth type of an experience. And honestly, that's pretty much how the business works as well. You know, on the business side, there's a lot of the word of mouth that you know, that people find out who you are, what you've done, and then it just kind of balloons from there. So
I feel like that's how I grew up so fast because I just treat people right. You know what I mean? And that's it. I never went into any of these relationships saying, what am I going to get out of it? I was excited to like when I met you, I was just excited to get your product, test it out. We had coffee. We knew the same people. It was weird. You know what I mean? I was like, oh, this is cool. And then I did the review and now we kind of became friends and we text each other and all that stuff. Like, but it was all natural. You know what I mean? And it's like, oh yeah, that's kind of how I feel like I grew my brand, I guess, the same way. It's golf is a very small world. You just don't realize how small it is, right? Like everybody, it's just a manufacturing world, dude. It's like super small. The best I can tell people is like, we're all the same. You know what I mean? Like small to medium-sized brands, we're all the same. We are. It's just so then it was so funny. I went by your guys' booth. Scott was always busy. I was like always stopping by, and he's like, "Oh, I'm doing an order. I got it." And then I was like, "Oh man, what the hell?" And so, but then one time I was over there, and Mr. Short Game was there. Remember that?
Yep. He did a nice little piece. I mean, you know, him the phone.
I watched it.
You know, and even won his PGA summary. Right, we made the cut, so that was pretty cool.
It was cool. He's really nice. Like he's on my cell phone. I text him every once in a while. He helped me figure out which cameras to buy, actually. So he's super cool. You guys watch Mr. Short Game on YouTube. Nice guy. Cool videos. He actually buys a lot of
you guys having the camera conversation. I think you guys had the camera conversation in our booth, if I remember right.
Yeah,
you were looking at what he was doing.
Yeah, I was like, what camera is that? Exactly. And I bought that camera. The camera that's recording me right now is the same camera. But I was like, hey, what camera is that? Oh, it's a Canon, blah, blah, blah. I don't know. Whatever.
Whatever it was you bought.
He told me to. And I texted him. I was like, hey, what's that model number? You know? The thing is, though, that camera is like 6 years old. Like, it's not even the newest model. It's like, he's like, hey, this is the best camera you got if you want to walk around with the camera. I'm like,
yeah.
No, you don't learn these things. You learn from YouTubers. That's how they know. So then last year, you guys went to PGA show. Coming out of it, how did you feel? Like, excited? Like, oh, shit, this is going to be a big year?
Yeah, I think we were starting to see the momentum, you know, and so we were gearing up, like I think everybody else was, to have a really good, solid year of events. I mean, at that time, the majority of our business was actually custom orders, events and companies that do promotional giveaway stuff. And so we were really gearing up. That's the meat of our business is getting ready for, the spring and early summer. And so you're
ready. You're like, oh,
we were ready, right? We were rubbing our hands together. We had our list from coming out from the PGA show, and we were making contact with everybody. And then, kind of
boom,
all shit broke loose.
Seriously, I'll never forget that day. It's like 9/11. I'll remember I was like March 16th or whatever, when I was like, oh crap, this is real.
And for us, it wasn't like an immediate thing. We just started seeing a slowdown of, reaching out for people. And there was, we're not sure what's going on and all that kind of stuff. And honestly, at the time, we were like, crap, this could take our business down to near zero for a while. Because again, a lot of our business, came from golf events and things like that. And so it was a sketchy time, but for us, it wasn't like something immediate. It was more kind of the frog in the hot pot, right? It just kept getting a little hotter and hotter.
Yeah. Like, like, whoa. Yeah. It's like, what do we do?
Yep.
Dan, what happened?
Well, I mean, it all goes back to what I was talking about. It's a word of mouth. It's a social business, right? And so we ended up working with a guy named Steve McMillan, Golfing Dad, and got to really get to know him pretty well. We went out and hung out with the guys from Dormy Golf, right? So the guys that make the head covers out of Canada. That just created a relationship, and through that network of people, we got introduced to a guy that's helping us with some social media work. And as Eric mentioned, we had no choice. We had to pivot, and we had to really take direct to consumer more seriously. So combination of hitting Facebook, Instagram, social media marketing, true digital marketing, me going out and talking to a ton of people on different direct email campaigns, frankly, working with you, Golfers Authority, doing giveaways and all that kind of stuff. You just shift everything, right? You shift your whole mind.
You pivot.
And you pivot, right? And you shift your whole mindset. It's like, okay, the event business is going to go on a shelf. We got to start figuring out how we're going to hit the customers, right? And so, Eric went from, okay, I need to be thinking about big orders of, 100, 200 units at a time to, okay, what are we going to do? How are we going to do stuff with individual units? And then we also sell on Amazon, right? So, he spent a lot of time looking at fulfillment by Amazon and those types of things. So we're looking at how to increase our Amazon channel.
It just increases your, I don't know. Like, you knew you had to do that at some point.
Right? Oh yeah.
Like, you're either going to be a novelty, not just you're a novelty, but like a novelty for big 200, 500 orders, right? Like, as part of that and you're focusing on that, but you're not really spending as much attention on this. And then you just flipped it, right? And now it's like, this is running your marketing, which is probably make these orders go up even higher because people are like, oh shit, I know what that is.
Spiral. Yeah, it's starting to spiral. And that's what Eric touched on a little bit this year, right? So now you have a direct to consumer business that's reasonable, right? That you still got to build it and work on it. But now this year you got events and corporate promotion stuff coming back. It all builds.
And that's just going to be icing though. You know what I mean? Like, cause you're going to have,
it should be. It's still be a huge business for us. Our initial business model was start with the customization and the event business, and the theory is we wouldn't have to spend as much marketing dollars to get those, and then it's a way of getting our product into more people's hands quickly, right? Whereas starting with the direct consumer business, our problem was we have to spend a lot of advertising dollars to just get us known.
Oh yeah, you do. It's expensive.
So that's why we started with kind of the event business first. And then we always knew that, and we had the direct consumer business. We just didn't spend a lot of marketing dollars towards it. Yeah. We knew 2, 3, 4 years down the road, we would really now have the momentum.
The budget.
Really get that going, right? Well, COVID was just a forcing function for us to flip the business model. And so now for the last 7, 8, 9 months, the consumer business is driving our event business, because now we're seeing people that bought the Phone Caddy to use themselves, and now they're coming to us and saying, hey, I run a tournament.
So smaller guys you would never have known about, right?
Yeah, or hey, I run an auto body repair shop, and a lot of my customers are golfers. I'd like to buy 25 of them with my logo.
You're like, holy shit.
So it actually kind of flipped our model, where now we sort of lead with the consumer business, and it drives sales into our event and wholesale business.
So how'd you meet Dormy? Because I'm friends with those guys. Todd.
That's what I was saying. Yeah, it's Steve, right? Yeah, Golfing Dads. He has, does a blog out of Florida, right? And he knows just a ton of people. And again, when you're down there at the event, right, where this was all at the PGA show, right? This guy meets that guy, meets that guy, meets that guy, right? And you just start to have the conversations, build the relationships.
That's why we have Scott. Scott's our relationship builder. I'm the engineer that doesn't like to come out of his office.
That's all right.
So,
I never even met Eric until today. I was like,
that's exactly why.
I was like, what the hell? And Scott's like, I have a partner. His name's Eric. I'm like, who's Eric?
Yeah. So, one of us is running the business on day to day.
I'm like, come visit Eric after the show at the office because now he told me where he's at. I'm be like,
know where he is. Go hang out.
I'm gonna go pick up some groceries afterwards. Just kidding.
Yeah, there you go. Stop at Walmart. Hang out.
Walmart. I know exactly where you guys are.
Walmart
well, I
people,
kind of know that location.
Come down here, hang out with us.
Well, you know why I'm so proud of you? Like, and I'm not like, I don't really say this often. I'm proud of you because look how far you've come in since I've met you. You know what I mean? That's a long way, man. 2 dudes selling stuff out of their house to now they have a warehouse. Now they have an office. That's massive. That's a dream, right? Some people, that's just the dream. You start in the garage and then you get a building. And I really am proud of you guys. I don't say that ever. And I just really am. But it makes me happy. I'm like, oh, that's awesome. Because working with small and mid-sized brands, a lot of them fail, right? Or they just kind of or they just stay flat. You know what I mean? They don't. And so now it's just kind of like the Cinderella story, right? It's like, okay, cool. Now they're at the next level already. It's in 2 years. So I've met, a year and a half. It was almost 2 years.
Yeah.
So that's a big move, especially during COVID. That's awesome. I had no idea. I thought you're still working out of the garage. I was like,
yeah, we were really fortunate. So you hear a lot of stories about, obviously if you're in the restaurant or entertainment business, COVID is not good for your business model at all. We were super fortunate. And I think one of the rare segments where honestly, COVID was helpful to us. It really helped expand our business and change our business dynamic. And we were able to pivot to take advantage of it. And so, looking back, I'm not sure I'd want to do it any other way. Honestly, I think the growth in golf. I think COVID was good for the game of golf. I would have told you 2 years ago that golf was kind of trending down, right?
For years.
I think this was a forcing function to get people out on the golf course because they could get outside, right? And so I'm hopeful that that's helped kind of reinvigorate the game of golf.
I think this year is going to be an interesting year, right? Because last year was. Because we don't know what's going to happen this year. Right now golf is flat. I think it's slowly going up, but you have to understand too. It's freaking February, so it's half the United States is frozen. So you can't even use that as a marker, and, but I also think this historically it goes PGA show, right? It's a lot of buzz, a lot of excitement. Golf's coming back, new season. Then 2 weeks or a week later is Phoenix Open, right? Yeah. And then that's massive. That's what I feel like golf stars. I don't care about the Kapalua stuff because no one cares about Hawaii, right? Whatever. And so, but we really didn't have either of them this year. We had the Phoenix Open, but seriously, it wasn't the Phoenix Open. It was just 8,000 people could show up. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I don't see the spike that I've seen before in the traffic. I also think we had an ice storm that covered half the United States. You know what I mean? So it's well, I don't know. But I still think it's going to be an interesting year. Some people, I've heard naysayers say well, that was last year. And now football's coming back and baseball's coming back. No, they've lost those people, man. Sorry. NFL season was boring. Did you guys watch NFL this year? I didn't watch NFL at all this year.
I watched what's you'd almost think it'd be the opposite. I watched far less professional sports than I did before, which is you would almost think it'd be the reverse. You think you got nothing else to do. If it's on, watch it. But
you're outside. Right.
Yeah, I watch less. And I might be in that category like you, the NBA might have lost me, permanently. I
don't care. Whatever.
A lot of the political stuff that they started trying to get into sort of turned me off a little bit. And honestly, I may not watch, be a watcher of NBA again.
I mean, I don't know. I think what happened with COVID is you see the underbelly of sports, and now you see what sports is really about. It's not about the sport, it's about the money. So then it's it's okay, now we're gonna have Sweet 16. Are we gonna have tournaments? Are they all wearing masks? And you look at the national championship for college football, it's some of those teams only played for half a season. How's that even count? Right? Those guys played all 12 games. You played 5. How'd you go
Yeah.
And hey, we're all Big Ten. None of us went to Ohio State, but we're just saying, right?
And the Big Ten didn't exactly, they don't look as stupid as the Pac-12 did, but the Big Ten waffling back and forth didn't exactly look like they had their shit together either.
Yeah, it's just, I don't know. I just feel like, so the naysayers out there say, oh, golf's going to slide this year. I think that's bullshit. I don't think it will at all. Because number one, we have new golfers that never played, right? We're all excited and jazzed about it. For example, my boss, he's all into golf. He never even played golf before. He thought it was boring. He said it. So, but in the last month, he's all into golf now. And I was like, awesome, finally.
No, that's good.
Because his girlfriend's into golf. It's just, you see I don't know, people want to go outside and hang out. Parks are full of people. If you live in Arizona, like we do, if you go to any of the mountain parks right now, you can't find a place to park. So, but you find a place, you can get a tee time, go play golf.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, the other thing that's nice about golf is there's so many people out there talking about building the game, reinventing the game, making the game more fun, right? I know I've played since high school. I played competitive golf, but I can easily separate that. If I want to go play competitive golf, I go play competitive golf. If I want to go out and have fun with my friends, I can go out and have fun with my friends on a golf course, So I like that. I don't know whether I'm the norm, if I'm an outsider or whatever, but just having, music on the golf course, having, the apps and all the rest of that kind of stuff. My personal opinion, it's all builds the game. It makes it more fun, than where it was in the past. Most of my friends that have gotten into the game, they all talk to me. They're like, I just like being out here. It's so beautiful. It's so gorgeous. Well, yeah, it's manicured. These golf courses put, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of dollars into these golf courses. You're not going to find prettier places to go and hang out at. Right. And that just blows people's minds. They're like, oh my God, I had no idea. So, I think that's really awesome is that whatever that barrier is, it got broken down. People have looked inside and they're like, wow, I really like what this is all about. That's been really positive.
It's fun. It's just fun. I don't know. You know what I've learned too? I think as we get older, it's to get 4 or 5 hours with your friends, right? And to stick around and have some drinks and play golf. When do we get that in our lives, right? We're all busy. We have kids, it's I started to understand why golf was so important to the demographic over 40. It's because they get a break. You know what I mean? And get to be dudes hanging out. And so I don't know. I think you're seeing a lot more of that too, where we're getting a lot more people coming into the game. I just do.
I think they have to adapt that. I like the concept of is it Mountain Shadows that converted to the par 3 only course? Yeah. They have lights. Cool. I think more golf courses should figure out a way to make it a shorter experience so you don't have to invest 4.5 or 5 hours to play. Kind of modernize a little bit to really keep it going. Shorter courses, be able to play at night. Stuff like that. That's maybe not traditional. I keep the tradition and keep those traditional courses there, but I think we can certainly find a way to make the game.
Here's the other thing that you're seeing too. I feel this. You might disagree. Is apparel, right? Because you don't have to freaking wear a polo shirt to go play golf. You could wear a t-shirt and workout pants, and no one's gonna say jack shit, right? Because
wear black socks. Don't wear black socks.
That's like my dad. My dad wear black socks with sandals. He would purposely do that when I bring girls over in high school, and I'm like, "Do you know what you're doing?" And he's like, "He just smile." He's like, "Oh, Paul's dad." Thanks a lot, dude.
He knew exactly what he was doing. He was trying to give those girls a preview of what you're going to turn into.
I don't have black socks with sandals.
Not yet.
Not yet. I'm gonna be old man, old Italian man. Welcome to my garden. Yeah. So I've seen that. I don't know. I think it's kind of cool with the apparel because now it's you can wear joggers or you can wear. Yeah. You don't have to dress up. It's not a fashion show anymore, which is interesting. I don't know. I just think you'll just see fashion change this year too. A little bit, a little more sporty.
Yeah, it's a balance, right? You you want to keep the rules of the game and all that kind of stuff there, but I think they do kind of need to open it up a little bit and get a little less stodgy, I guess, about some of the things dress code and stuff. Like I said, there's a time and place for that. There's courses where absolutely they should have a
traditional,
but there's some other courses they should open up and just have fun, right? Just get people interested in the game and just let people be themselves out on the golf course and enjoy it.
I 100% agree. So what's new for this year? What do you guys got going on?
We're actually working on. We'll continue to kind of release some accessories for the Phone Caddy. So we're going to launch a little adapter that allows the Phone Caddy to work on push carts. So that'll help open up the market. We have a couple of prototypes out there in the field that some people are testing for us.
That's huge.
Yeah, it'll be nice to kind of open it up to people that, move back and forth from, push carts to the normal golf cart. So that'll help kind of expand that business for us a little bit. And then we're working on another super secret product that's totally different than the Phone Caddy that I've had rattling around in my head for a year or so. And we've done some early prototypes, and people that we've shown are pretty excited about it. So
that's
hopefully
cool.
We get launched this year too.
You can call it the Paul if you want. I don't mind.
The Paul? Yeah, maybe.
Paul Fox.
We'll have to work out your licensing requirements and how much money we have to pay you to use your name.
$1.
$1
per 100 units. That's cool though. You guys have like that. I really think you guys are gonna. That's a whole other space that's like untouched right now. Is the push cart market, because like I know because I work with a couple push cart companies, and it's like that industry exploded. Like literally, they ran out of carts like 2 months into the year, and they were not able to get any carts. Like if you want to make $1 billion, like start a golf cart company. Like, seriously.
Well, the social distancing where there was a time where they weren't allowing 2 people in a golf cart, right? So the solution to that is push carts, right? So, and there's a lot of other countries that have a great golf tradition that don't ride in golf carts.
Usually Europe, England, big time.
Yeah, absolutely. So that'll allow us to expand into other countries, and we're going to expand our sales more into Canada this year. So just in terms of a business side, we have a distributor that we're working with in Australia. We want to expand more significantly into Canada, Mexico. So
you're really scratching the surface.
We want to go in.
Majority of golfers are United States, but like the thing about Canada, which is a pain in the ass, I'll just tell you, is the shipping cost, right? Like anything to Canada, it's like $14. You know what I mean? It was under 12 ounces. It's like, dude, seriously?
Our solution to that is we need to expand our Amazon business. So it's fulfilled by Amazon in Canada. That'll help, with the logistical cost for us as well. And as well as finding some distributor partners and things like that in Canada.
Yeah.
So business side, it's,
you can just send a bunch of them to Nick.
Make
him ship them out for you. Be like, here, man, why don't you ship these out? And he start Nick's probably like, whatever.
See a big 18-wheeler pull up outside and dump like pallets on the front.
You dump like a big old truck full of them. You're like, here, just ship this stuff out on your free time. All right, thanks. Well, that's awesome. I'm really happy for you guys. You guys need to check out Desert Fox. It's like seriously the coolest thing ever. And I'm a big supporter of them. A lot of people I hang out with are supporters of them. They're like, they just make the best phone holder. Just do. Like I've tried them all. I mean, I think you guys make the best one. It's cool because you can like adjust it. It's not just like a strap or something. It's like you can adjust the sizing. I don't know. You can tell an engineer designed it, not like some guy in China was like, I'm going to put a strap on or a magnet, or whatever. But, and it's brilliant, right? Because seriously, if you're writing, everyone uses an app now. I mean, I had Sal on this week I had him on the episode, but like, if you use the Arcos, there you go. Like you have your Arcos on. So I think that's who you guys need to work with is like those kind of companies and make it part of their thing.
We've had the conversation.
We're working on it. It's not from a lack of effort.
No, it's probably, it's hard. I know.
Do me a favor and call Sal after we get off of this one.
Sal on my cell phone. I'd be like, Sal's a good dude, man. That guy's smart as hell.
Yeah.
But I think the good thing about the market is, right, when you go out and when you golf, you don't see a ton of phone holders on golf carts. So it's a new market, right? And so we have a double.
You only have a couple competitors, I think. I mean, they're different. They're not the same.
And by the way, I like having the competitors, right? So
you need to,
I talk about it all the time. It's rising tide lifts all boats, right? So I don't
especially
mind.
in an emerging market, right? Of what
absolutely
selling,
right. I would hope that there's lots of options, and then for people to try them and settle on ours, which I think is the best. So I think getting people to recognize that having a phone holder, period, is a great thing. And then once they now have choices for that phone holder, they can choose ours. But
no, I agree.
I'll know the market is mature when I go out and play golf, and half the people on the golf carts have some sort of.
Are you seeing it though? Like not when you go play. Have you seen it like on other people's carts with are not people you know?
Yeah. It's a blast. It really is. It's one of those things. I think I called him. I was out at the golf course and somebody was coming by, and for the longest time, I just assumed I know everybody that has the phone holder, right? So guy's driving towards me and I'm waving at him and he's like, who the hell are you, right? And I think I called Eric. I'm like, hey man, I found one in the wild.
So exciting, so gratifying, right? You're like, whoa.
Exactly. It's definitely happening.
So when people like wear your stuff, you're like, whoa. I watched a video the other day of Jeff Pellizzaro, and I'm from 18 Strong, we're friends. And I said, I want my beanies. And like, he's like eating he's eating like a vegetable. And he's like, eat your vegetables. He's wearing my beanie. And I was like, that's my beanie I just sent him. It was just fun. Like, I was like all excited. I was like, man, that's awesome. Because like, my dad's wearing my beanie. And I was like, oh, it's just my dad. Like, whatever.
It's just my dad.
He's wearing that and black socks and brown sandals. He really was.
Sounds like you need to go into footwear so you can get your dad some different footwear to wear.
My dad's the biggest. So funny. Here's a story. My dad is now becoming the biggest fanboy of True Linkswear. Like I think I gave him a pair once and he's like, oh, I should wear my shoes. And now he's like buying them all the time. It was so funny. I'm like, yeah, no kidding. They're good shoes. Like, duh. But my dad's old. What are you gonna say? Right. But anyways, you guys, I really appreciate you guys being on the show today. I appreciate our friendship. I like doing stuff with you guys. Like I said, we're friends outside of the show, and maybe we should get coffee again, Scott, since we live by each other, kind of. And you guys need to check out, what's your guys' website again? I don't want to make sure I mess it up. DesertFox.com or something?
DesertFoxGolf.com, really critical. Or if you want to go really simple, DFG.golf. You can get there that way too.
Check them out. They make the coolest thing around, I think. And there's good dudes. You can see like they're growing. They came up with a cool idea. You got 2 engineers who are smart men that are putting together a cool brand with something that is actually needed in golf, I think. I don't know. I love this stuff. So thank you for being on the show, and I will talk to you guys soon.
Appreciate it, Paul.
Thanks, Paul.
Thanks for listening to another episode of Behind the Golf Brand Podcast.
You're gonna beat me at golf?
Stay connected on and off the show by visiting golfersauthority.com. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave a comment.
Golf is always more fun when you win.
Stay out of the beach and see you on the green.